Life is becoming very, very, very fast these days. After a stressful day at work, strenuous, long, hectic day at work, what brings calm inside is the fact that we are going to go to a home which is really peaceful. Today, in the studio, we have someone who is an expert in creating these peaceful, nice, lovely homes. Welcome Adin here. Hi Adin, how are you?
Hi Vino, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, totally. I'm so happy that, I'm talking to an interior designer here because as I told you, home is something that calms everyone down. It's like the Zen zone for everyone, if I can put it that way. What is your design process like? When you get a client, they come with ideas, right? Fragments of ideas.
Fragments.
And what is the process like?
So the first thing we do is that we book a free consultation so that we get to understand the wants, the needs, the expectations that they have. And from there, we proceed to do site analysis, to review the space and do measurements. And with that in hand, we do design concept for them. We develop a concept where we, incorporated mood boards, rough sketches, think a little bit about colors, and bring that to the client to see if we are aligned in their expectations and what we understood from what they want. If that is approved by the client, so then we move on to a more detailed planning. And here we work very close with the client. So we bring them designs, samples of materials and colors, and also starting down exact costs. And the next step after that, we just get on with it. Execution and installation. Then we finalize with a walkthrough with the client, and always have some time for adjustments. You always need adjustments at the end.
Amazing. Yeah. The journey sounds seamless and the journey sounds easy, but I'm sure it's not because you're dealing with a family and there are many ideas around. But, I'll tell you the recent problem that I had. Okay. We moved to Dubai and I was looking for furniture to fill the house. And all I found was in white. And apparently I was told that white is the trend of the season. So I couldn't find anything else in any other color. It was white and canes and, everything in light colored, organic, minimal, Japanese kind of vibe. What if I'm an extravagant person? I don't want that trend. I want something else. But finding out something out of the current trend, this exactly sounds to me like fashion, If there is a trend, you find only that everywhere, right? And I want to know more about these trends in terms of interiors.
Trends are short-lived, right? Or relatively short-lived. So I think they are very ill-suited when it comes to interior design, especially if you think about interior design combined with sustainability, because you want to do something that will last you today and tomorrow. So I think concepts like timeless, personality, transitionability are much better ideas to work with when you are working with interior design. That said, I just read somewhere that 2024 was the year of the anti-trend, which makes me extremely happy. But I think, the whites were around for a long time.
That's a very
And then the gray
color.
came. Luckily, what's been around lately is more rich woods, earthy colors, going to nature for inspiration. And I think that is very related to the times we're living in. There is a lot of turmoil. We have conflicts. We have the digital revolution. We have climate change. So people are looking back to what comforts them, looking backwards. And that, I think, is very reflected in interiors today.
When you spoke about the trends in interior design, you also mentioned the word sustainability. I would like to know the types of materials that you use. Are there materials which are considered as eco-friendly, and do you incorporate them in your work? How does that work?
There are, especially in marketing. Sustainability is overused, I think. But when it comes to sustainability overall, I think we shouldn't think materials. We should think quality. We should think timeless pieces. we should think repurposing. Because, and here we come a little bit back to trends, right? Trends are very unsustainable. Because if you use trend as your guiding star, then you change a lot. And there is nothing worse in a sustainable point of view than to, throwing things away and buying new. We shouldn't think materials. We should think how we do it to stand the test of time, to be able to repurpose things. That is a more sustainable thought, I think, than to just focusing on materials.
If the trend keeps changing, it's so difficult to change the interiors. It's not a budget-friendly thing to change the whole interior into a different vibe, right? Like, for example, last year, almost most of the cafes that got opened were all in the Art Deco theme, in the Miami kind of peaches, pinks, and Art Deco and gold, right? And now I observe that there are a lot of bamboo and natural wood kind of theme coming up. What if the Art Deco restaurant wants to become more trendy and suddenly wants to become this minimal Japanese thing? Then they'll have to, take out everything and change, right? I think following trends is very dangerous in that terms also.
That's why you should think personality instead. If you open a cafe or a restaurant, find your style. Who am I? Am I an Art Deco place? Stick to it. Today and in 10 years. That's your identity, and that will make people want to come back to you. If you're constantly changing, people doesn't even know who you are. What are you selling? And like you said, in interiors, if you do a bathroom, that bathroom needs to last you, hopefully 10 years. And it has to be equally embracing and nice today, on 5 years, and in 10 years. You can change the soap brand, or you can change the color of the towels, but you cannot change your tiles following in trends, right? It's going to be very costly and definitely not sustainable.
True. When we think about interiors, I think this is a common problem that every household has. The interiors has to be kids friendly and pet friendly, because these are the two little brats who create every single imperfection in the household. So how do we go about this? How do we approach design to be more kid-friendly and then pet-friendly?
First of all, houses don't need to be perfect. They shouldn't be perfect. We live in them, right? And I think that I love that you asked me that, because I used to run a furniture and accessory firm for years. And the core, our core was that you create items for homes to be lived in to the fullest. Interior design should never limit you. It should enhance your life. So if there are kids, if there is dogs, if there is maybe not so careful adults in your household, your interior needs to reflect that and adapt. And you don't have to compromise your aesthetic endeavors because of that. You have to be a little bit smart. Don't put your crystal ball, in the reach of the toddler. Put it higher up on the shelf. But I don't see any contradiction. I grew up with cats and dogs, and I have kids that were small ones, and I never felt that it was limiting in any way from this type of style that I wanted to have in my home.
Oh, lovely. I think it also depends on, as you said, the mindset that, the house has to look spick and span all the time. It need not be. Yeah, well said on that. And we live in a very culturally rich region. Dubai has its own signature elements, right? Do you incorporate those when you design homes here in Dubai?
Definitely. I think you should always look at where you are. Otherwise, you end up with something that doesn't feel right. And I did that a lot. I just renovated a home for myself, and I looked a lot into the desert country that we are in. So just an example, I put beige color micro cement inside and out everywhere. It makes me feel like I'm walking on sand. I incorporated a water cascade into my pool, because here we really appreciate water for natural reasons, and you see that everywhere here in Dubai. You have fountains, and the water is a very big feature also in traditional Arabic architecture. Landscaping, also very important to look at where you are. Desert roses, palm trees, not grass, maybe. I tried to look at actually got inspired, but all these fortress courtyards that you have here. They're so beautiful with this type of plants, terracotta pots. I incorporated that in my personal home.
Amazing. Yeah. As you said, maintaining lawns. I don't think it works here.
I tried when I got here. I wasn't wise enough. I didn't know where I was.
What is your opinion about the turfs, the artificial grass that people lay?
I understand that people want them, and I don't want to be rude to anybody, but for me, I don't get them. I feel every time I go to somebody's house that has this, I feel the smell of plastic. And to step out to my garden and feel the smell of plastic, for me, it's an insult to my senses. So, and they get hot, they get dirty. No, I don't like them, but I understand that especially people with kids feel that it's a good alternative because grass is very expensive to maintain and difficult.
I agree on that too. And here in Dubai, the type of homes that we have a lot of studio apartments which are just single room. And how do we go about bringing out something unique in just a room within a budget?
I think that you can work with fabrics. If you are on a budget, go out and get a really high quality, beautiful statement cushion, and you can pair it with most cost-effective alternatives in plain colors. That will make a big statement and highlight your room. Think big, because one thing that people do is that, I have a small space, I need to buy small things. That's a big mistake. Go big. Put a big piece of artwork on your wall or buy a big vase. And please don't put any plastic flowers. If you don't like fresh flowers, go to places like Home Center, Pan Home. You can buy all these dry leaves, dry flowers. Think tall. Go upwards. Build upwards if you don't have space. That would be my advice.
Interesting to think vertical when the space is limited.
Definitely, and especially for storage, because what limits when you have a small space is also we all need a lot of storage. And instead of going sideways on the floor space that is limited, go up. You can build shelves, floating shelves, cabinets. You have go all the way up to the ceiling.
When people buy a new home, they invest a lot of money in that, and they have a limited budget for the interior purposes. But they want to look like it is a high-end interior design work that has been done inside their home. It's a very genuine and very justifiable, desire that everyone has. If somebody wants to get a high-end look with a limited budget inside their home, what are all the little gimmicks and tricks that they can do to get that?
Work with your accessories. Once again, same thing as in the small room. Get that statement cushion. Get that statement vase. Find that topic that you're interested in. Go on Amazon, buy some really amazing coffee table books. If you put curtains, if you can, put them attached to the ceiling, not in the middle of the wall. Everything that elevates, that gives space, height, will elevate your space and make it look more luxurious. Once again, think big.
So when a family comes to you for consultation, and family consists of different personalities, and you will be getting inputs from all those personalities. But how do you kind of accommodate everything and arrive at a design pattern and then go about it? Because it's so difficult to satisfy everyone in a family.
Yes.
Right? Even though it's a family. Because we are all humans in the end. That, I think, your work kind of includes people management also.
Oh, definitely.
Mood management also. I guess that's the biggest challenge for you. So how do you do that?
It's a tricky one because besides the ideas that the different members could have, you have your own opinion and you think where they should go. So, and you don't want to step on anybody's toes. You want to keep everybody happy and at the end, with a result that creates a home for them that they are happy with. So it's all about, like everything in life, compromises. So you step back, you listen, you mediate sometimes, and normally it sorts out at the end. You give here and you take there, and you can create a cohesive environment that that works for the different members.
Do you believe in the fact that, colors play a major role in the psychology of people who are living in that space?
Yes, colors are extremely important. Colors are a deal breaker if not applied correctly. You have to go into every space, look at it, feel it, look at the light. What is the purpose of that room? What mood do you want to create? And from there, you have to choose wisely. Although colors, the good thing with colors is that they are easily changeable. So worst case, a repaint is not a very, very big thing to do.
So when you create the mood board or when you come up with a theme for the whole home, you will have a set of color palette that you will be going, which is related to each other, or do you deal it like with room by room?
I mean, you can create different rooms with different colors and different moods, but the whole house needs to feel like a whole, right? You cannot go in one direction here and one direction somewhere else, because that will create a lot of confusion. So yes, I will look at every room individually, but I will also look at the composition of the home as a whole.
As you speak, it sounds very similar to how we approach a fashion collection. It's the same. Though we make individual pieces, they all have to look like they belong to one single family. That's what I say. So yeah, amazing. I get it. And about the pieces that we use for decoration. Okay. I have been to some houses which I find very cluttery. Too many pieces on the tabletop, or too many things around. First, I wonder functionally, how do they clean everything every day and keep it dust free? A. And B, why so many things around? I mean, that's my personal opinion, okay? But then people don't know where to stop. They keep gathering things and they put it out. Whatever they have, they put it out. I have come across this many times, and hence I'm asking you, how exactly to choose these pieces of decor and where to stop? How much can we gather and put it out?
Clutter is a big thing. I mean, it's a big problem, and that affects our soul. I mean, I can admit, it took me years to get the discipline where I go to stores, I see beautiful things, and I'm saying, I don't have any use for it. It's beautiful, I like it, I don't have any use for it. But that takes discipline. That's also why in our firm, we incorporate home organizing together with interiors, because we think they go very strongly hand in hand. Doesn't matter how beautiful home you create, if you don't declutter, if it's full of things out of place, it will never work. I think when you go into a room, you have to look at the room and see, is this room overfurnished with very heavy furnitures? Then the interior items to bring in there needs to dress it down, need to be streamlined, calming. If you go into a room that is extremely minimalistic, maybe you need to incorporate things with that more elaborated, that incorporates interest and some kind of interest in the room. So it all depends on what is already there, if you haven't had the chance to do it all from scratch.
Because, when you speak about interest, I think too many point of interest is also a problem. Say, for example, if I enter a room, I see every wall is a point of interest, and I see every corner has something interesting. I kind of feel that, there has to be one main thing that draws the attention to. And if everything is special, I guess you are kind of lost. What do you think about that?
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, if you, when I say interest, I mean something that attracts your eye and then enhance the room, not 40 million things that, just get you overwhelmed and confused, right? The thing with interiors is about creating balance, creating a space that is calming, that is appealing to your senses, right? And if you go into a room that is, like you said, has too many elements, it will not give you the calmness that a room actually should give you to make you feel good in it. So yeah, less is always more in fashion, I think, in interiors, in all things.
Okay, I have a question for you, which is very personal. Okay, how do we choose the textile for upholsteries? Because, for example, the fabric on top of the sofa kind of starts to fray. it bunches up like small little nodes, and then sometimes the curtains attracts all the tiny little speck of dust, and it shows very bright to the world that, hey, I have dust. So choosing functional yet beautiful fabrics for interiors, I guess it needs a lot of experience to find the right kind. How do we do that?
Fabrics are very tactile, so you need to, like, especially if you're in a sofa, you have to sit there and feel like, I really want to be here. So that is actually a budgetary question as well. You can find good fabrics, but good quality fabrics that have the right kind of treatment that will keep dust or dirt away, but that still are natural and not heavy ridden with chemicals, tend to be quite expensive. So here you have to find the balance, work with budgets, work with the use of, is it a curtain, is it a sofa, is it a pillow, what are we doing here? Before, I always used to navigate to natural materials. Now I think there are a lot of synthetic or engineered fabrics in the market that have a beautiful touch and feel, that actually, out of us durability and the aspects that you're talking about, like work very well. So yes, it depends what you're going to use it for and the budget, unfortunately.
While you were speaking, you mentioned that, when you come to a space, it has to calm you down. What are all the elements that elevates a person when you are surrounded by, and what are all the things that kind of puts people down in mood when you are surrounded by, like, because you have dealt with a lot of human beings and spaces together. How is that connection?
Here we come back to, it's about a balance, right? So you have to, and working with the senses, because, interior design should appeal to all your senses. So if you have a room, its ergonomy, its colors, and the balance in the room. So a room like that you feel embraced by, calm, you want to stay there. But if you enter a room that, once again, clutter, harsh lighting that is inconsistent, poor choices of furnitures, you will not feel comfortable in that room. That's the things that you need to look for. And having said that, there are actually people that are very affected by the environment. I'm such a person. And some people are less affected. So for people that are less affected, maybe these issues don't play such an important role, but for other people, they are essential for their well-being. So I think it's also very individual.
We spoke about incorporating local cultural elements in the interiors. We also spoke about trends. I think a space, a home, is kind of a reflection of the people who are living inside. So how exactly to project who we are, what the family is, what are the values of the family, and what the family stands for in the way they decorate their house? How can they do that?
The best homes are a home that are designed for the lifestyle of the people that lives in there. It should reflect, who are you? Where do I come from? What is my journey? What are the items that I look at and they evocate like nice memories in me, or so these objects, for calling them somehow, needs to be in your home. It's not about just buying beautiful things, because if you can fill your house with a lot of beautiful things, which is fine, but if they are void of meaning, of memories, of passions and your interests, they will fall very flat. It's like when I see people, they buy, now there is this thing that people buy books that is only blank pages inside. They are decorative books. I never understood that. But I love to have books, and books are an exceptionally amazing decorative item. But buy books, at least, even if you never read them. But I like cars. Buy a book about cars, Don't buy a book that says Chanel on the outside.
And has nothing inside.
I was amazed when I saw it here in Dubai once, and I was like, I couldn't believe it.
I've seen books that looks like books which are actually boxes.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think that if you want to create a home that feels personal, lived in, you should go to yourself and part from there. Most of us has a fairly good idea of who we are and what we like.
And it's not just one person, no? It's about the whole family. Like everybody,
Yes, of course.
Everybody comes with different personalities, but then it has to be a collective place where everything is reflected in equal proportions.
Just a very, very small example, but we were styling this living room for this family when one party is from Britain and the other one is from Lebanon. And we were going to buy books. So we went out and we found books about Lebanese architecture and culture, British, and at least it felt relevant for that home.
Instead of blank pages.
With Chanel outside.
How do you choose art?
Art is expensive. And so normally I try to start from what do people have in their home. And one thing that we see a lot is 2 small pieces on 2 big walls. And that, unfortunately, instead of enhancing a room, normally makes it look very deserted and cold. So we work a lot with is taking what people have and group them to create entire art walls with smaller pieces. But that will often leave us with empty walls somewhere else. So, and here you very, very fast come down to budget, because especially big pieces, even if they are not very recognized artists, a big piece will cost you even, if they are more or less industrially made. So a trick that we use here a lot is that go out and find this amazing, beautiful fabric and have it stretched. That will create you a statement piece for a very, very affordable price. If there is not a big art budget, is to ask people for travel and family photos, not studio photos, but natural photos. And we turn them into black and whites and have them framed and build, once again, a whole wall of photographs. This works not in every room, like public rooms or a living room. I wouldn't prefer to do this, but for bedrooms, home offices, family rooms, it's a very warm, nice thing to do that, once again, reflects the family.
Yeah. Nice. This is an interesting idea that you shared, like, get the textile and put it on the wall. I love it, and I have done it at my home, and it is really nice.
It is.
Yeah, it is. I would like to understand, just out of curiosity, what are the challenges that you face in your profession apart from dealing with the people who are your clients and giving inputs? Because I'm sure you're dealing with a lot of other people also, like people who make furniture, people who paint, and people who sell art, people who sell books. What are the specific challenges of an interior designer that you face?
We work a lot with custom made. We customize a lot. Furnitures, mainly furnitures. And that's we like to work like that, because then you can get the exact piece for the exact room, for the exact space. But then you have to find the people to do these things for you. And there are a lot of very, very talented people out there, but they are very busy. So lead times, I think, is the most challenging thing that, at least at the moment when the whole of Dubai is booming, everybody is renovating and buying new homes and all that, lead times are the most challenging thing that I would say at present.
And what are the unique challenges that Dubai has, being a region with such hot weather and very volatile people coming in and going, and it has its own unique characters, right? Are there any specific challenges that are Dubai specific?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, people are people everywhere. There's not much difference, to be honest. The only constraint that I find is language. But luckily, my partner is Arabic speaking, so that helps a lot. But I wish I also spoke Hindi and Urdu and all kinds of languages. That would help me a lot. But so language is the only thing that I would say is a constraint, especially dealing with contractors, workers, suppliers. Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering, almost everyone speaks English. So I was wondering, as you mentioned, when you speak to the people who are actually doing the work, I guess it's better to communicate with them in the language that they know, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, English is my second language, it's their second language, and we have all different levels of how well we speak English. So, people always, all these nuances, the communication is so much smooth if you are talking in a language that you really, really, really dominate, which English is not for us foreigners. It's not our first language.
Yeah, and the connection is better when you speak in the local language. Of
course.
Yeah. And everyone lives in a space and they call it a home. What makes a place into a home? What do you think are the specific things, Say, for example, I kept moving countries. So every time I move to a new country, I enter a space. Okay, and I have to build a home out of it. And then I live there for 4 to 5 years and then I move away. But that there are some features that make it a home. I don't know. I mean, I always feel maybe it's the amount of time that I spend there or the amount of memories that I build there, or is it the things that I have gathered there? What do you think?
I'm going to get a little bit personal here, because what makes you feel home and personal is a personal thing. So for me, it's like we have certain pieces. We have this African statue. We have a family background in living in Africa that has been with my husband's family, and I have some pieces that have been with my family even before me and my husband formed a home. And those pieces have been traveling with us. So I think you should have your special things, your special pieces that when you put them down, okay, this is my home. It might be my home for a year, 6 months, or 20 years. But this is my space. This is me. So I think that, going back to trends again, I really don't like trends, is that when people have these homes that are like very styled, all designer pieces or not designer pieces, and then it's very difficult to create that reflection of yourself, this sense of home. You can change, you can evolve, you can get new pieces, you can redecorate, but there are certain elements that should be there continuously. And I see it on my children also. When they moved to Europe to go to university, they took things with them that they now have in their student apartments. They are not going to be there for long, but that makes them feel this is my home. And they have a connection to us, to the background. So yeah, get those special pieces and keep them with you.
Oh, that's lovely. What do you think are the mistakes that people usually do when they are designing their home interiors?
Over-furnishing, over-decorating. That we see that a lot. Sometimes you go to clients and they want you to acquire new things so that they can elevate their space. And what we tell them is that let's start by getting rid of a lot. Another thing that I think people do is that, and I mean, like I said, I had that thing myself, is that you go out and you acquire things. And this is especially when sales come on, right? You go to the shop and, oh, my favorite designer, everything is on sale, and then you get a piece. The piece is amazing, it's beautiful, but you take it home and it just doesn't work in your space. But you keep it there because it cost you this and that, and because the designer is this and that person. So I think that is, interior design is about, once again, balance, and it's about creating a cohesive whole. And that, I would say, requires a good eye. So when you start putting elements together that don't speak to each other, that don't want to cohabit the same space, that's when you're making a mistake.
I think more than understanding what you need, you should also understand what you don't need in your house.
And what you have already.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Adin. It was a wonderful conversation and I learned a lot. And thank you very much for coming.
It was a great pleasure, great fun. Thank you.
Thank you.